Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Force here once again with some more StarCraft 2 commentary, and WhiteRa says, hello, Greg. And with that, we have got a game between EG's IdrA and WhiteRa. This is going to be a Protoss versus Zerg here on Metalopolis. I woke up this morning, I hopped on st2rep.com, is where I get a lot of my StarCraft 2 replays, and I said, WhiteRa versus IdrA, WTF, I have got to commentate that. I am thrilled. You have no idea. Very excited to get this game underway. As if you don't know these two players, let's get some tournament information. WhiteRa, our blue Protoss player here in the 3 o'clock spawn position of Metalopolis, recently took second place at the MLG European Invitational, losing to Naniwa. He also took fourth place at the ASOS ROG Stars Invite, losing to Elfie. His opponent, EG's IdrA, spawning up here in the 12 o'clock spawn location, took first place at the ASOS ROG Stars Invite, besting Select. He also took first place at the 2011 MLG North American Invitational, besting Sheth. All right, guys, those are some recent tournament informations for that sounds ridiculous. Some recent tournament information for both of these players. A lot of you guys have been big fans of that, and as a result, I am going to try to make sure I do that whenever it's plausible, whenever it makes sense, as long as it's actually tournament competing players that we're commentating a game of. I will be sure to try to give you some tournament info. WhiteRa will be going Forge Fast Expand, however, it does look like he will be deciding to go Nexus first here. And IdrA is going to be fully aware of that, realizing, man, he is getting close to 15 supply here, and there is still no Forge down. So it will be a Nexus first here for WhiteRa as he moves on down with that probe, preparing to drop the Nexus. Now, IdrA about halfway done that spawning pool. Let's see when he decides to get that hatchery. Yeah, he's going to pull down with 2 drones. With this, he will be able to harass with 1 and then use the second one to actually drop that hatchery. Unless WhiteRa decides to drop a pylon here, in which case he would be able to delay this a little bit further, but no, just kind of dancing about and still, oh no. Man, IdrA took him a little bit longer maybe than he would have hoped to get that down. Now WhiteRa is going to be moving back into the main here with his probe. He wants to check gas right now. That is what he is going to be looking for. There are no extractors up yet. And yeah, he's going to just be harassing the hatchery. That is hilarious. We got 2 lings coming forward, as well as a queen. Yeah, just the 2 lings. He's not going to go up to 4 or anything like that. And right now, WhiteRa finishing that wall off there. You can look at that full wall off between the Forge, the Gateway, and the Nexus. And then we'll be seeing a cannon. The first one will be going right around here. And we may even see one a little bit back here, or maybe even right around here. Now, it is important to keep in mind, he is going to have to protect these resource patches. Obviously, this cannon can hit, I would say, about up to anything harassing within this vicinity, but much further than that, any lings harassing, any probes mining from these, that cannon's going to have a hard time dealing with. So as a result, he will need some extra coverage unless he decides to just come out with an early game zealot or get that sentry out as fast as possible. However, he has no gas yet, just now finishing those assimilators. Ling scouts moving across the map, grabbing both these towers here. And actually, drone moving straight for the third here as IdrA realizing that WhiteRa is going for a very econ-focused early game, going Nexus first, decides to respond with econ focus as well, dropping his hatchery over here, and still no extractor, so using all of those drones to get a ton of minerals and be able to afford the drones to saturate that third once it does finish. Overlord now pulling on back. Still going to be a while until we see any anti-air here from WhiteRa, so he will not actually be able to kill off that Overlord at all. And again, you can see without that Cybernex core, he can't pull that Stalker or that Sentry. That's just about finished now. And what else is he going to go straight into a Stargate? WhiteRa going for some air harass early on. Void Rays and Phoenixes can be very effective. He easily will be able to get a few free Overlord kills, and then also probably force the creation of a few more Queens and even some Spores here. Now you can see that droning up right now as IdrA is preparing to get this resource line saturated again once that hatchery does finish. Secondary scout here coming out from WhiteRa. Nothing IdrA can really do to stop this unless he tries to intercept with the Queen. Delaying that gas so long so that he could drone up also sets back his metabolic boost, of course, and without metabolic boost, he really can't deal with this scouting probe. He just can't prevent it. So WhiteRa knows about the third right now. Look at all those drones transferring over. Few lings able to get the extra shots off and take out the probe. So now WhiteRa is over here. He's pretty safe here against those unupgraded lings. They really can't do a lot. We do have that first Void Ray coming out. Just 1 zealot in play right now. He's going to be working his way on through. Surprised he's actually not chrono boosting that. right now. Would like to see that happen. Another gateway and a pylon as he goes for the complete wall off here. And then once he decides to leave his base with a ground force, eventually he'll just have to destroy like that pylon or this one over here. Probably this one though. If I had to venture a guess, I would say this would be the one to go bye-bye. Go bye-bye, he says. All right, first Void right now out. Overlord will be scouting he will be scouting the Stargate, if not just the Void Ray itself. It looks like he's going to try to, bypasses the Overlord to make it so that IdrA doesn't scout it quite as early. There we go. Now finally scouts the Stargate, so now he knows the air's in play, and at the same time, the Void Ray hits his Overlord. Going to pull back with both of his Overlords here, try to save them. Not going to be able to save this one, unfortunately. And now fully charged up. Actually, we're seeing WhiteRa engage the Queen now. He's going to be forced to pull back unless he decides to just take some structural damage. Oh, yeah, there we go. Both of them pulling back. That Overlord gets taken out there by Stalker. Second Void Ray now finished with a third one coming through. Will be very Void Ray heavy. Decide not to go the Phoenix route here in the early game. Straight for heavy Void Ray aggression. This is going to force more Queens to come on through. You can see 2 more Queens in production. Both of them now popping. Also going to see some Spore Crawlers coming out. WhiteRa does need to be careful not to lose these. Queens are very strong. No, I gotta see a transfuse. There we go. Nice transfuse there by IdrA. Transfuses both of his Queens. Gonna continue to get a few shots off. Almost killing off that Voider. However, he gets microed back. Another Queen comes to join the fun. That's gonna force WhiteRa back here with the Void Rays. Again, those Queens are very strong, especially with transfuse against the Void Rays. Even fully charged up, a few Queens do pretty well here. Now we got a few more gateways coming on through. We're gonna have 4 in the main base plus the 2 down here, so we'll be a total of 6 gateways. We'll say Robo coming out as well. WhiteRa will be content to sit on these 2 bases for quite a while now, not looking to move out anytime soon for another expansion. Now IdrA's got a bunch of links coming out, also working up into some Roaches. Macro Hatch over here as well, coming out with the speed upgrade there for those Roaches and that Cloud Reconstitution, as well as the level 1 missile attacks there for those Roaches. Actually, there we go. Look at that. WhiteRa is just deciding to move on into his 3rd. I'm just surprised by that, given the amount of production buildings he got. And, ooh, loses the Sentry plus a Stalker. I was just surprised, given the amount of production buildings he came out with and that robotics. All those extra gateways plus that robotics. I was actually just expecting him to push off of 2 bases, but it looks like in addition to all those production buildings, he's deciding to get up a 3rd as well. Very interesting decision there by WhiteRa. Very interesting indeed. A few Void Rays pulling on over here, trying to engage. Unfortunately, not going to be able to do too much damage. Only a few kills each for these. Really hasn't done a lot of damage there at all, to be perfectly honest with you. Taking a look at the resources lost there, about an even number of workers killed. IdrA's killed off 2 probes, and that's it now. IdrA's getting ready to engage. He's sitting on his 3 bases, pushed out with a mass of Roaches plus some Speedlings. Immortal is going to make things difficult. Now, look at this. This is why I was a little concerned here about WhiteRa's expansion, because he is very liable to lose this right now. Roaches pushing forward, Speedlings getting us around there on the Sentries and the Stalkers. A few Zealots coming to play, but there are too many Roaches for him to deal with right now. We got a bunch of Speedlings over there. Void Ray is now pushing down, and let's see if he's going to be able to take out this Nexus before the Void Ray kills off the rest of his forces. I think he is going to be able to do so. Yeah, he's committed to this right now. All his Roaches and the Lings going straight for the Nexus. He is going to drop it. We got a few more Lings coming to help and make sure that that gets taken care of. Zealots get warped in. There it goes. Nexus goes bye-bye. WhiteRa committing so many resources to these production buildings, and then at the same time, without an army trying to get that 3rd, did not have enough to deal with this force. And although he had the Void Rays, which could not be countered by IdrA without any anti-air in the midfield, wasn't able to kill off fast enough to prevent that Nexus from getting dropped. So all of a sudden, WhiteRa takes a big hit and is behind IdrA. About 400 resources lost. Exactly 400 resources lost behind IdrA right now. IdrA coming out with a 4th, also going to be dropping 2 extractors over here. And he does have Mutas transitioned to Muta, so we'll be spieling Roach Muta from IdrA. IdrA with 8 Mutas in play, 5 more about to pop. He could start trying to do some harass here, and he obviously can take out these Void Rays right now. Going straight for the engagement. 1 Void down, 2nd Void gonna get taken out, and the 3rd. WhiteRa loses his Void Rays, just sticks in there, tries to kill off as many Mutas as he can. Colossus actually in a little bit of a tough spot. I'm really concerned here for WhiteRa. Moving into the main, getting a bunch of worker kills right now. 7 workers killed so far this game here for IdrA. Getting a few more before he's forced out of the base. Phoenix in play now with more coming through to try to counteract the production of these Mutas. Phoenix, of course, very good at taking out Mutas, especially when there are not a lot of Mutas in play. Can micro around them and do quite a bit of damage. We got a very large force here for IdrA, though. 85 armor supplies opposed to the 38. He could most certainly hit this expansion again and take it out. without WhiteRa being able to do too much about it. That would be a major concern right now. IdrA continues to mount up his forces. Level 1 Carapace almost done. Level 1 melee attack about halfway finished as well. And the level 1 flyer attack almost finished. We're going to see the push here from IdrA as he starts to mobilize with those Speedlings. The Mutas joining the force as well. WhiteRa not pushing out with anything. He cannot afford to do so. He just does not have the forces at the moment. IdrA moving out here with a huge mass of Speedlings. Plus those Mutas. He's going to go straight for this expansion, and he is going to get it. There are too many Mutas there. Too many Speedlings plus those Mutas for him to really reasonably deal with right now. Going to quickly take out that Colossus. See you later. Some reinforcements coming on through, but the Zerglings are going to get a full surround. Down to just the one Phoenix right now. Reinforcement Zealots, though, going to help protect him here. Those Lings not the greatest against that, and WhiteRa defends. As he gets those reinforcements, the extra warp in, plus the forces that pulled down from over here, WhiteRa is able to defend against IdrA's engagement. IdrA, 116 army supplies opposed to 21 to WhiteRa. This is literally like all WhiteRa has. What's total count? 5 Zealots, 1 Immortal, and 2 Phoenixes versus 21 Speedlings, 28 Roaches, and 14 Mutas. Another push here from IdrA is quite easily going to be able to mop up what WhiteRa has, and we do have the 4th base up and running with a fifth base also coming through here for IdrA. IdrA's in a very dominant position right now. WhiteRa is in no way prepared to defend against this. Speedlings pulling into the resource line. They're going to start doing some economic damage while the Roaches take care of the army and drop some of this tech and production buildings, and WhiteRa, realizing that he got outplayed here, calls the GG. I was a bit concerned this game when we saw WhiteRa get all those production buildings plus the tech and try to move into a 3rd at the same time. As a result, we did see IdrA push out with a small force and take out that 3rd Nexus, which obviously set WhiteRa behind, and then relentless aggression from IdrA managed to continue to keep WhiteRa behind in the game, and IdrA just kept it up and eventually forced the GG. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this commentary. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thanks again guys. Keep watching, keep owning.